Welcome back to another English lesson. Back in November, I was very happy that President Trump became our new president. I'm not going to say who I voted for. I'm only going to talk about Donald Trump and how it relates to this channel because I knew he would say some crazy things and that will give us a lot of English lessons to watch. And he did it again. He said something pretty crazy. He said he wants the United States to take over the Gaza Strip and make it the Riviera of the Middle East. Most people around the world do not like that idea, but hey, we can have an English lesson with it. In today's English lesson, you will learn terms like unprecedented, a joint appearance. Joint has many different definitions in English. We'll talk about one of them. A proposal, the English phrasal verb to take over. We will talk about what fallout is. If somebody is brazen, do you know what that means? Contested. We will review a term we talked about in another English lesson, displaced. We will talk about what stunning means. Great verb here. Dismantling. Do you know what it means if somebody is on board? That picture actually probably helps you. How about if something is worthwhile? We will talk about what stability is and so much more. This English lesson is perfect for anyone studying the IELTS or TOEFL exams, anyone who wants to have better conversations in English, or anyone who likes watching the news and learning English at the same time. So let's jump right in. We will watch the clip together and then I will come back and teach all of those difficult terms.
Unprecedented foreign policy announcement last night at a joint appearance with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He proposed that the U.S. actually take over the Gaza Strip, to even open up the possibility of sending troops. The Gaza's entire population of roughly 2 million people should move elsewhere, is what he said. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has more on the president's comments and all of the fallout. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. This is a brazen proposal.
The first one we have is unprecedented, but before we get to the definition, would you mind hitting that like button? It helps other English learners find the lesson. And if this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe so you never miss another English lesson. For each of these terms, I will have a picture, I will have the official definition, and I will use it in a sentence. If something is unprecedented, it has never been done before or never known about before. The plan or proposal for the U.S. to take over the Gaza Strip is unprecedented in modern history. In other words, nothing like this has ever been done before. If Kamala Harris would have won the election back in November, that would have been unprecedented. The U.S. has never had a female president before. It would have been unprecedented. Joint appearance. That means when two or more people appear together publicly, like in front of everyone, so everyone can see, not private. President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu made a joint appearance to announce their plan for Gaza. Wait a second, just in case you don't know where the Gaza Strip is, let's take a look at a map. You can see it is sandwiched between Egypt and Israel. Have you ever heard sandwiched used as a verb?
Unprecedented foreign policy announcement last night at a joint appearance with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He proposed that the U.S. actually take over the Gaza Strip, to even open up the possibility of sending troops. The Gaza's entire population of roughly 2 million people should move elsewhere, is what he said. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has more on the president's comments and all of the fallout. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. This is a brazen proposal.
A proposal is basically a plan to do something. Let's get the official definition. Suggested, a plan or idea to think about. This did not go over well. People did not accept this. Let's read the sentence. They proposed moving Palestinians to nearby countries like Jordan and Egypt. And almost everyone around the world said, yeah, this is a bad idea. I would like to know your opinion. Would you mind leaving it in the comments? Is the US taking over Gaza a good thing? There are about 2 million Palestinians who live in Gaza. The land is very special to them. I doubt most of them want to move. We'll see, but I could be wrong, and I can't wait to read what you say in the comments. Takeover means to assume control or ownership of something. We've done an English lesson about this before. President Trump wants to take over Greenland. He wants to take over the Panama Canal. I think he might even want to take over Canada. The US plans to take over the Gaza Strip and redevelop it. We'll talk more about what it means to redevelop. Let's do that right now. I asked AI create a picture of Gaza after the United States takes it over. And as you can see, there are plenty of McDonald's on the Gaza Strip now. So if they did something like that, the US would redevelop Gaza. It's like build it back again. We'll talk about a word that means almost the same thing a little later. There was a lot of fallout because of Trump's proposal. Let's get a definition for fallout. The negative results or effects following an event. Basically, Trump said, let's take over Gaza, and most of the world's leaders said, no, it's a bad idea. Let's get a sentence using fallout. There was a lot of fallout after the announcement, with many countries expressing concern. Basically, they said, I don't know about that. This is probably a very bad idea.
Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has more on the president's comments and all of the fallout. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. This is a brazen proposal. President Trump claiming without authority rights to one of the most contested strips of land in the world, announcing plans to displace the Palestinian population and turn Gaza into, quote, the Riviera of the Middle East.
Brazen. What if someone is brazen? That means bold and without shame. Some critics described the plan as a brazen attempt to change the region's dynamics. I mean, don't you think after the Palestinians go to Egypt and Jordan, Israel will just take over the Gaza Strip for themselves? Let's take a closer look at that picture. It looks like there is a bank robber. He is trying to rob that bank, and he is not wearing a mask. That sounds pretty brazen to me. The brazen bank robber committed the crime without a mask. Let me get rid of my picture and that sentence. In the background, you can see a bank robber wearing a mask, so he's not being as brazen as the other guy. Contested is how you pronounce this next word. It's not contest, it's contested, and it's a verb. Disputed or argued about. The Gaza Strip is a contested territory with a complex history. Yeah, there has been a lot of fighting over that little strip of land. Take a look at that picture. It looks like people are protesting an election. The results of the election were contested. In other words, not everyone agrees who won the election. Luckily, in the United States, our most recent election was not contested. If an election is contested, you might see protests. Our 2020 election, when President Trump lost, was contested, but I think most people agree Trump lost. Biden won.
This is a brazen proposal. President Trump claiming without authority rights to one of the most contested strips of land in the world, announcing plans to displace the Palestinian population and turn Gaza into, quote, the Riviera of the Middle East.
What happens if you are displaced? That means to force people to leave their home or country. The proposal would displace many Palestinians from their homes. In fact, I think the plan or the proposal wants to displace everyone in Gaza. Just in case you don't know what the Riviera is, there is the French Riviera. Beautiful place. The Gaza Strip does have a coastline. President Trump wants to make the Gaza Strip the Riviera of the Middle East. The Riviera is a coastal area, which means it's near the water, a coastal area known for its resorts and beauty, like the French Riviera. The plan aims to transform or change Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East.
This morning, a stunning proposal from an American president. Donald Trump, with the Israeli prime minister by his side, declaring that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and calling for the permanent resettlement of roughly 2 million Palestinians.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site.
And he says he's willing to use the U.S. military to do it.
We'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs.
Benjamin Netanyahu seemingly on board with the plan.
They described the proposal as stunning. Let's get the definition. Extremely surprising or impressive. I think it was more surprising to people than impressive. The announcement was a stunning development in Middle East politics. Stunning can also be a good thing. Many people thought the woman was stunning as she walked the red carpet. Stunning can be a synonym for beautiful. Resettlement. It means the process of moving people to a new place to live. The plan or the proposal includes the resettlement of Palestinians to other countries. Trump said that Gaza needs to be dismantled. Dismantling means taking apart or destroying something in an organized way. That man looks like he might be dismantling a wall in his house. Let's get a sentence using dismantling. The proposal involves dismantling existing structures in Gaza for redevelopment. In other words, tear everything down and then rebuild it again.
This morning, a stunning proposal from an American president. Donald Trump, with the Israeli prime minister by his side, declaring that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and calling for the permanent resettlement of roughly 2 million Palestinians.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site.
And he says he's willing to use the U.S. military to do it.
We'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece, and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs.
Benjamin Netanyahu seemingly on board with the plan.
I think it's something that could change history. And it's worthwhile.
I hope you are on board with this English lesson. It means agreeing with or supporting a plan or idea. If you are on board with this English lesson, it means it's helpful. You think I'm doing a good job. You are supporting me. But not all neighboring countries are on board with accepting displaced Palestinians. Did you know people who live in the Gaza Strip are called Palestinians? Also, if you know the West Bank in English, Palestinians live there too. If something is worthwhile, it is worth the time, money, or effort spent. In other words, it's valuable. I hope you find this English lesson worthwhile. If you do, it means it's worth watching. Supporters, believe the redevelopment of Gaza is a worthwhile endeavor. An endeavor is just something you do. But there are more detractors than supporters. Supporters mean like you like it. Detractors mean you don't like it.
Benjamin Netanyahu seemingly on board with the plan.
I think it's something that could change history. And it's worthwhile really pursuing this avenue.
The real estate mogul turned president touting the potential opportunity.
I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
But Trump provided no details on how he could do this or on what authority he could take over the sovereign territory. His proposal likely a violation of international law.
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East.
At one time, Donald Trump was a real estate mogul. Let's talk about what that means. A person who has made a large fortune in the property market, buying and selling structures, houses, apartment buildings, office buildings. President Trump, a former real estate mogul, envisions major development projects in Gaza. But I do believe the Gaza Strip is a sovereign nation, a supreme ruler, or a self-governing independent state. A sovereign nation has its own leader, probably has its own currency or money. The plan raises questions about Gaza's future sovereign status. Will it still be a sovereign nation, or will it be part of the U.S.? I mean, Trump wants to take it over. Would it be the 51st state instead of Canada? Of course not. I'm just joking. They talked about stability in the region. That is a situation in which things are steady and not likely to change suddenly. There has not been a lot of stability in the Middle East lately. The leaders claim their proposal will bring stability to the Middle East. Take a look at that bridge. It looks like it has stability, or it is stable. Stability is the noun. Stable is the adjective. The bridge looks safe. It looks like it has stability. It looks stable. If that bridge was not stable, we might call it wobbly. Do you know that word? Wobbly. Take a look at this video. This is definitely a wobbly bridge. Congratulations, you made it to the end of another English lesson. If any of the parts were confusing, go ahead and watch it again. Or if you are looking for more English lessons about Trump taking over things, there is one there about Trump maybe taking Greenland and the Panama Canal and who knows, maybe even Canada. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.